Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome back to Anime Symbol. And today I'm going to be giving you part 5 of What If Naruto Was Neglected with the Black Rinnegan. Remember to get this one too. 100 like as usual. Share this to all your friends on your social media platform. And also, guys, don't forget to go ahead and obliterate that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. If you're new, I indeed have 4 more channels that I post what if on every single day for you guys to enjoy. Anime King 2, Anime King 3, and Anime Prince. All of those links will be down in the description, so go ahead and smash that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. So yeah, without further ado or wasting more time, how about we leap right into this brand new episode? Begin now, guys. So, the last part that we left off, Minato realized that Naruto's intention was not to come out to the public. No, it was not. It was to make him suffer. Given the fact that Mito was there, and that Naruto had the chance to cause Minato the worst pain possible by ending her life, and he did not. It tells him that Naruto was plotting something bigger for him. Sakura, the girl, was mentally scarred from the recent encounter. It was her first time out of the village as a kunoichi. She just could not do it anymore. So she went away from the program. Yes, she quit the program. With Sakura gone and with Kakashi now dead, they had to get back another genin and also a Jonin sensei as well. Said Jonin sensei was Yamato, and the person to fill in for Sakura, his name was Sai. He was rather strange. He did not seem to know how to express certain emotions, which tend to make people incredibly angry. Mito mostly. Danzo had been the one to recommend Sai for the team. He had the expertise and the knowledge and the strength to help them out if they were to ever be put in such a situation ever again. Minato had made sure that Danzo had nothing to pull over him, nothing that he could use to take his role. However, he knew that Danzo was still necessary for the future of the village. The man might be underhanded, but he did his underhanded tactics to make sure that Konoha remained number 1. So Minato allowed him a bit of leeway to do a certain thing, and also give him this promising genin known as Sai, no last name. As the people were still looking out for Kakashi Killer, many want to get revenge for what happened. Many who respected and saw Kakashi as a great comrade. The more so who was feeling a lot of emotion was one of his best friends. Well, he put it that way. It was Might Guy. Meanwhile that was going on, we found Naruto on top of a hill as he was manipulating raw, natural lightning as it struck down towards him. He found himself in a place that he did not like to go. It was basically a cell. Inside of said cell was another part of him that he kept locked away. Heavy chains and a lot of security locked it away inside. Orochimaru had truly tampered Naruto to a state of, well, breaking him in half. Yes, there was 2 parts of him. The one that was here, the one that had everything under control. And then there was that darkness inside of him that not even he could control. Even with all the power that he possessed, the darkness that wanted to burn and eradicate everything, but he knew he couldn't allow that to happen. So, time and time again, he kept it at bay. Karin and Menma helped with that. Both of them being there for him, as a family that he never had. They helped with that greatly. As for Orochimaru, he had a plan. as he had a plan to bring Konoha down to its knees. He was already working on it. He had a deal with the leader of the Sand. His name was Raza, but the man was behaving a certain way, and Orochimaru figured that he would have to make a move soon enough, because the man seemed like he wanted to pull out of said plan, and Orochimaru could not allow that. He couldn't allow anyone to find out otherwise. Everything would be ruined. He had to catch Konoha, mostly Minato and Mikaze off guard. Yes, he had to catch them off guard. There was also a group that Orochimaru was making contact with. There were several people that hated Konoha, but none so more than this group that wanted to see the village fall. And he got in contact with their leader, and it was a lot of them. So yes, Konoha was in for a whirl of chaos. Orochimaru even got another tail beast, and that was not the One Tails. Yes, he had another tail beast on his side. So yes, Konoha was in deep trouble. As for Jiraiya, he was able to find out that the rise of a new empire with Gato demise, he was able to link that back to Naruto, and he was able to find the contact. Jiraiya went in after discussing with Minato, as he was a completely different person. He wasn't under a transformation, more like a completely different makeup transformation, not ninjutsu wise. So with that, he went there with two ladies that were a part of his spy network, as they were able to gather information while he made a deal. He had to find the right person, and it turns out that Naruto was that right person. The one that did not leave any evidence or any signs that this was a normal attack, as Jiraiya and Minato had came together to make something perfect. Jiraiya used his spy network to spread the information. All the members in the organization that Naruto was hired to take down and make it look like an accident, all of them were Anvus, and Naruto was not aware of that. Minato had to end this tonight. He was feeling nervous, but he knew he had to end this, otherwise everything would fall. Everything would come to a stop. It would all be chaotic, and he couldn't afford that to happen. Jiraiya got in contact with Naruto dealer. His name was Ringo, as he was able to send a message out to Naruto about the new mission that he was hired for. Karin had informed Naruto that their spy with Orochimaru told them about everything regarding the attack on Konoha and Orochimaru's association with the Sand, as Naruto found this perfect. Yes, they had someone deep inside of Orochimaru organizations, and the snake did not even know about that. However, he had to head out for his mission. Both of them had progressed a lot in their relationship. Things were a lot better. So with that, Naruto headed out, as it took him a while to arrive towards the location. Arriving there, he's supposed to make it look like an accident, so he was going to burn the place down. But it was all a setup, all a trick, all a act. Minato was able to react and grab Naruto and flashed away. Jiraiya used Fuinjutsu to bind Naruto as he collapsed down to his knees. Minato stood in front of him, and finally, after all these years, the father and son got to talk, and Minato saw the deep-seated hatred that Naruto had for him, but he knew that deep down that he deserved it. Minato was about to end Naruto once and for all, to get rid of all of these problems that were following him. However, Naruto's rage could not be bound. His power fluctuated, and Minato and Jiraiya was sent sailing. It was pure chaos. The Anvus started to quickly make their way. After hearing the commotion, all of them running out. Minato had been injured because of the close proximity to Naruto when that blast went off. He watched as Naruto turned his gaze towards all of the Anvus, and he could feel it. He could also see it in his son's eyes. He knew exactly what he was going to do as he tried to get up as Naruto raced after the army of Anvus coming his way. So yeah guys, basically as we left off, you guys can switch across the playlist of yourself. So what do you say we jump right into this brand new episode? Begin now guys. We begin this episode at the Hidden Leaf, where a man cloaked in an orange mask stood in front of the grave site. The name on said grave was Kakashi Hatake. The man stood there unmoving as he looked down towards the grave. He was not talking. He was just looking down towards it. Soon after, he sucked himself away in a swirling vortex, and he was gone. While that took place, the horde of Anvus were making their way to help their leader as quickly as possible. However, they did not get to reach. He slammed into their forces like a cannonball. Bodies were sent sailing, heads, arms, torsos. It was bloody. 4 of them died before the others could recognize what even was going on. They all pulled their weapons as he moved through the herd like a flash. Similar like his father, the raw, unbelievable speed. His eyes, his dark eyes tracking every single one of them, their movements. It was like he was seeing directly into the future. Bodies were coming down, screams could be heard. He held out his hand as he saw Minato and Jiraiya approaching. A violent blast sent all the remaining survivors scattering away. Minato and Jiraiya had to stop, covering their face as the entire sandy area was upturned, destroyed, plummeted. He stood there in the center of it, holding his blade in his right hand, dripping with blood. His gaze fixated over toward his father. Jiraiya had his hands up. Minato was gripping onto his 3-pronged kunai. There was blood running down his lip. The close proximity that he had with Naruto when the blast went off, it damaged him greatly. He could tell that a few of his ribs were broken. He raised his hand, stopping his people from engaging. Naruto was far stronger than he thought, and they would just go to their deaths. Minato swallowed his pain as he glanced over towards Jiraiya. 1 kunai turned to 4, but Naruto simply laughed. "It is not the time," he said. "This will not be the place where I end your life. It's not fitting for your death. However, I am glad that you were able to arrange this little meeting so that we can speak. After all, it has been a long time. But it does not matter. I will come back and I will end your life, but not here. When that time does come, that is when you will truly understand pain, anguish, suffering," said Naruto. The Anvus all gritted themselves as Jiraiya stepped forward. "And who told you that you would be leaving?" he said. "After what you've done so far, you're not leaving this place alive." "After what I've done," said Naruto. "Don't make me laugh. I'll be coming for your life as well. So don't try to rush to your death that fast, old man," he said. As Naruto whistled, all of them tense. Something came plummeting from the sky. "Move!" Minato cried out, thinking that it was an attack, which it was. Whatever it was, it rained down explosives. Naruto watched in glee as explosions and fire went off all around him. He bent his knees before he leaped. His body seemed to hover into the air before he landed on a strange bird. Its feathers were black and white, representing Naruto's eyes. It also had his black Rinnegan. The bird took off at a pace that none of them could keep up with footwise, and it was gone, shocking all of them. Minato collapsed down to one knee, Jiraiya rushing over to his side as a man coughed in his hand. He was in bad shape. He had stood too close to Naruto, and his body was still trembling from pain. However, he was willing to fight through it to end this once and for all. Minato noticed something though. Naruto had not said a single word about their connection, their relationship, that they were father and son. Now Minato was certain that he was up to something big. He didn't want anyone else knowing about this, despite the fact that he could thank Minato for what he did. And Minato was afraid to what he was plotting. If this was not it, publicly humiliating him, what could be worse? He knew that Naruto seek his death, but what he wanted before that death was what scared Minato. And his one chance that he had to end this once and for all. He failed to do so. He had no idea that Naruto had gotten this strong. Now he understood why Kakashi did not stand a chance. As for the flight speed that Naruto went off with, there was one other thing that could move pretty fast. However, it lost him. The creature erupted from the earth and gazed upwards. Two half, one black, one white. Its name was Zetsu. Now Zetsu was perplexed and rather shocked. This was a 100% coincidence. Yes, a coincidence. Zetsu was passing through, back towards the hideout, when he felt the chakra close by. He decided to investigate to find out what was going on, and what he came across was truly shocking. Zetsu had been there to see the beginning and the end. So he knew that Naruto was Minato's son. But the most shocking part that he could never have expected was his eyes. The Rinnegan. However, Zetsu had never seen Rinnegan like that before. He's seen red, purple, but not that one before. Never in his life. No, that was unusual. He never even knew that there was someone out there that possessed such powerful eyes, other than the ones that he already knew about. The boy seemed no older than 15 or 16 years old, yet he had a master that Zetsu was surprised to see. He really could not believe it. However, he lost him, but he saw the general direction that he was going. White Zetsu kept on blabbing, but Black Zetsu ignored him as they went the way, trying to find the location that the boy headed off to. They searched for hours as Zetsu searched an entire town and the other. He had to get back up. He had to go back and get the remaining white Zetsus. They would be beneficial in trying to find this boy. He didn't want Toby to know of this just yet, or Pain. After all, maybe this could help him more than them in the long run. So with that, he made his way back to gather more of the white Zetsus. Toby might believe that the white Zetsus are under his control, that he or Madara was the one leading them. How wrong they were. So with that, Zetsu made his way off. Time skip. Naruto jumped off his bird as it poofed away. He had all the aspect of what he believed was a full master of the Rinnegan. Granted, his eyes seemed to keep on developing and gaining more power and strength. He was unaware though that certain of his abilities that he had were not really what the normal Rinnegan had, like entering someone's mind and completely destroying their soul and making them your puppet. Not to mention his other ability that he performed right before Kakashi went off to the other world. Yes, Naruto had a big surprise for Minato when they meet once again. All in all, he was not expecting to see his father, not in the slightest. He almost lost himself to rage. The bloodlust almost fully got out. He almost lost himself once again. However, he was able to push it back. He had a goal, a dream, something that he could not afford to fail. And letting himself go would only cause him to lose perspective of what he truly desired. And he couldn't afford that to happen. Naruto came to a stop. He could swear that he sensed something following him. Whatever it was, it felt like plants moving erratically, and yet it felt like it had sentience. He truly did not know what was going on. Anyway, what was following him was long gone now, as it wouldn't have been able to keep up with his summon. And this was only one of them. He had a lot more. The Rinnegan allowed him aspects of different summoning creatures. He also had an involvement in their changes, of course. So with that, Naruto made his way off as he was close by to his home. He wanted to get home and see Karen, and Menma as well. He had a lot of rage stored up inside of him, and he needed to be calm. And they were the only ones that could tamper his rage. Time skip. Minato had kept this classified. The Anvus that they lost tonight was a sad affair. However, Anvu's life are always in the darkness. Minato sat at his chair. He rubbed a hand down his face. He was tired, emotionally, and physically as well. He had his chance. This could have all been over, but he was too slow. Ironic. He was said to be one of the fastest men alive, but he was too slow to fix his own damn problems. He released a heavy sigh. He was truly tired. The more time passed, the more he was worried about his family's safety and worried what Naruto had planned. He feared what was going to happen soon enough. Time skip. Zetsu was not an idiot. He knew if he got too close that he would be found out. After a few days of constant searching, the white Zetsus came across a house situated in the middle of nowhere. With a little more investigation, Zetsu was able to see the ones that reside in said house. A red-headed female and a younger red-headed male. Given their interaction that Zetsu had seen from afar, they seemed to be siblings. And this is where the one they call Naruto was located. Zetsu was still shocked that there was another Rinnegan user. This should not be possible, but yet he was here, alive, and his Rinnegan seemed to be much more powerful than the one that Nagato possessed, which was given to him, of course. As Zetsu had spent the last few days watching the house or using the other Zetsus to do so, he did not know what to do with this new development. However, he figured that telling Toby about this would not be so wise. It would be good to have this boy in his back pocket, so when the time does come. It happened so fast. One moment he was in deep thought, the next moment a hand clamped down around his throat and tore his body out of the ground. White Zetsu was rather shocked. He was speaking out loud. Not even he had sensed the approaching threat. The both of them were now being grasped. Those dangerous eyes glaring into their own multicolor eyes. Zetsu was beyond shock. Black Zetsu. He prided himself on being able to hide away from most. He knew that getting too close, the Rinnegan would eventually sense him. However, the fact that he was able to sneak up on them, and he didn't even know until he was grabbed. "Who are you?" Naruto said, his dark, ring eyes peering into them. He could not understand what was his creature. It was basically a plant. The white part was. The black part was a source of strange energy, chakra, but it was different. He had no idea what this was. He's never seen anything like this before. Black Zetsu gave White Zetsu a look to shut his trap. He would be the one doing the talking. He already had an idea cooking in his head. "We do not mean you any harm," he said. "We were just curious." "Curious? About what?" said Naruto, looking at the creature in front of him. "About you," Zetsu said. "After all, you possess those eyes. The Rinnegan." Naruto blinked hearing that. Orochimaru was the only other person that called these eyes the Rinnegan. There was no one else that he came across that knew of these eyes. "How do you know the name of these eyes?" said Naruto. "Because I've seen them before." Black Zetsu spoke to Naruto. "Where?" "On someone I once knew," he said to him. "And I can help you." Just like how I help the other person that I came across. I can... No. Zetsu blinked. What? I said no. I don't need your help. I don't want it. And I do not trust you, said Naruto. He held his hand out. Lightning started to gather around his hand, rather violently. Zetsu realized that he was going to rip them apart. However, before Naruto could, all of the white Zetsus in hiding that were bonded to the trees lashed out. As the important ones that were there were able to manipulate their bodies, it was like massive thorns, white thorns rushing towards Naruto. However, he turned his hand and obliterated all of them with the lightning. The white Zetsu that was attached to black Zetsu elongated its head as there was spikes erupting from it, trying to impale Naruto's arm. Naruto was forced to let go. As he turned though, he built up chakra. He then exhaled it in a giant fireball. White Zetsu used his body to protect Black Zetsu as he shielded him. Black Zetsu dropped to the ground like ink as he quickly sunk into it. Naruto's fireball completely obliterated White Zetsu. He was not done though. He held his hand up as he plunged it into the earth. A violent blast eradicated everything in sight. The excess chakra that he released sent under the earth. It obliterated everything, seemingly wiping Black Zetsu off the face of the earth. Naruto obliterated all the other white Zetsus as well, making sure that none of them were alive to tell anyone about this location. By the time he was done, the place was a mess. Karen came running up there, towards the hill where he was located, wondering what the hell was going on. A far distance away, underground, a tiny droplet. It seems like a tiny droplet of water, however, it was black, fell on a piece of stone. Zetsu was alive. He was able to escape, not unscathed. A second later and he would be gone. However, he was able to push a small part of him out to survive. However, it will take him a while to gather himself back. But he now knew that this boy was not the person that he was seeking that he could use. This boy was someone that he needed to destroy. He did not trust, he did not allow him the time to even talk. Zetsu couldn't afford anyone to ruin his plans. He's waited for hundreds of years now. Hundreds of years. So that he could bring her back. And he wouldn't afford anyone to get in his way. However, those eyes could be very useful with someone else. And it could speed his whole planning up. A lot of dark thoughts started gathering in his mind already. And he already knew exactly what to do. It will just take him some time. But what was time to him? He's waited this long. He could wait a little longer. Back with Naruto, he informed Karen of what he came across. However, just like Naruto, Karen did not sense anything anymore. He was sure that that creature was long dead by now. However, the problem was this location compromised? He couldn't afford for anyone to find out about this place. Yet this place was perfect and has become a home for him, Karen and Minma. But he had an idea though. Time skip. As the time went by, Mito was happy as she was walking through the village. She was not happy for overall reasons. She was happy that she was going to become a Chunin. She had no doubt that she would pass this exam. For the last couple of months, she had pushed herself to the limit. Her father had been busy most of the time, but she had made sure that she could get help otherwise in different places. Her mother and several other Jonins as well. She needed it. She really hated being on a team with Sai. Sasuke was different. From he awakened those Sharingans, he started to act like his younger self that she stopped being friends with. However, she understood why he was acting this way. The whole Kakashi affair, it changed all of them. Soccer was no longer in the program. She had been throwing herself head first into all sorts of training, and Sasuke, he just became more unavailable, quiet, more dark, and it has been showing on their recent missions. Recently, Sasuke had taken 3 lives. Some people that could be allowed to live. Yes, they had done bad things, but their deaths. They did not deserve deaths, jail time perhaps, but he did not show a shred of mercy. Despite what Mito had went through, she knew who deserved to die and who did not. And those people, they stole, but they did not deserve to die for it. She saw the look on their faces. But Sasuke did not hold back, nor did he hesitate. She could feel his anger rising. But she supposed that all of them had problems. They were kid soldiers, for God's sake. But she just had to try to keep moving forward. That is what her mother told her. Focusing on the past and festering yourself in pain and anguish would only hurt you severely. She just had to keep moving forward. Keep moving forward. She kept on telling herself over and over again. As she came across a group from the hidden sand. Time skip. Minato Namikaze resided in his chair as he gazed over all the listings of ninjas that were entering Konoha. Majority of them had signed in already, and they were currently in the village at the moment. A lot has happened in the past couple of weeks. The Chunin Exams had now come around the corner. It was time for Konoha to host the exams. This was a very big affair. Sasuke will be participating as the last Uchiha within Konoha. His daughter would be participating as well. Sai on their team will of course be participating. Team 7 had come a long way despite all that they have went through. He's watched each and every member grew right in front of his eyes. Mostly Sasuke and Mito though. He already knew that Sai had far greater training than them to handle more harsh environment and harsh things that he had to do. However, Yamato had been reporting on Sasuke's mental health, something that he was doing for the both of them, Mito and Sasuke. Sasuke was getting more darker. The death toll was rising. Not to say one should not kill as a ninja. It is in the job description, but there were some times that it was not necessary. But Sasuke was getting darker and darker. And Minato was not sure that this would be beneficial for the future. However, they will be participating in the exams. But he had to make sure that everything goes smoothly. Daimyos and many important people were coming. But this was also a big opportunity for enemies of the village and his enemies to make a surprise attack. And he couldn't afford for that to happen. He would do everything in his power to make sure that this village is safe. Time skip. Sasuke found himself within the Uchiha compound. A lot has been on his mind lately. From that unknown opponent fracturing his spine to him being too weak to do anything. He's becoming darker and darker. His mindset was becoming more tainted with rage. That guy was strong, but Itachi was probably far stronger than him. And yet, in that fight, he could not even stand up to the bloodlust. How pathetic he was. One hit and it was over for him. What the hell has he been doing for the past couple of years? Was that all he has to offer? When he finally meets Itachi, was it going to be over in one attack? Just like before, he needed something. He needed the feeling to continue on. To know that he was going to get stronger because as the day passed he was losing it. Because he did not seem to get any stronger even while he's now using his Klando Jutsu, the damn Sharingan. It seemed to not show much improvement. He's even taking a few lives. And even striking them down, he knew that he was pathetic because they were all weak, not strong enough to handle him. So that did not make him stronger or prove that he was better. It just made him more and more pathetic, he thought to himself. Well. Sasuke almost jumped, but he kept himself under control. Someone was behind him. Quickly reaching for his kunai, Sasuke spun as he could feel the intent to attack. Not knowing who it was, the person quickly blocked his arm. Well, it seems you're good at sensing killer intent. Maybe there's hope for you after all. The person wrapped themselves around man's place, his own kunai at his throat. Sasuke was shocked how easily he was disarmed. The person trailed the kunai across his neck, drawing a bit of blood. One more move, and it's all over, the person said in a voice to make Sasuke knew that they meant business. What do you want? Sasuke said. Oh, that's easy. I'm here to help. The person released him as Sasuke stepped back. Standing there was a woman. She had dark hair, dark blue eyes. Her face was strangely calm, unusually so. He didn't know what about it, but something was just off. She was wearing a grey vest with black pants and a strange rope tied around her waist. Sasuke glanced at her. What do you want? He asked. Not believing this person, I said. I'm here to help you. Sasuke. How much more will you have to go through before you realize this village, it's not strong enough to help you? Time after time again, I've had my people watch you. You're not getting stronger. You're just getting more and more pathetic, believing that you are. Sasuke clenched his fists. However, me on the other hand, she gazed into the Uchiha eyes. Sasuke collapsed down to his knees, feeling a pressure that settled on his chest and on his shoulders. He could not move. She stepped forward. I am the answer that you desire. I can grant you the power that would eclipse Itachi. That would eclipse all of your future enemies. I can help you reach your full potential. As long as you join me, she said, with a wicked smile on her lips. Her face expression finally changed and morphing, like she was not used to her own face. Sasuke looked up sweating. Who are you? She reached up as she grabbed at the top of her hairline before pulling down her face. Sasuke fell over on his butt as he pulled himself away in fear. My name is Orochimaru. Sasuke pressed himself up against the wall. The Sannin, he said. Orochimaru smiled. Exactly. Time skip. Yamato, wish them luck. Mito glanced towards Sasuke. He's acting even more strange than before. However, she had to keep her mind focused. Her mother had told her to be careful. Her father told her to be careful. The exams was not an easy affair. It was pretty dangerous, and she had to watch her back. But she believed that Sasuke and even Sai would come to her rescue if necessary. She would do the same for them, of course, but she was prepared. Well, shall we advance? Sai said, giving off his fake creepy smile. Yeah, let's go, Sasuke said. He seemed different. With that, they made their way inside. The first part was pretty easy. It was a written test. The second part was the Forest of Death. Team 7 had no problem. They faced off against a team from the Land of Rain and they got their scroll. With that, they made their way to the third part. That was the preliminaries. However, they had to wait 5 days for that. Sasuke was in deep thought throughout the whole exam about his conversation with Orochimaru. The bad thing was, he was thinking about Mito, his one really only friend here. Yes, the both of them had been good friends when his family was alive. However, they drift apart when Itachi. Sasuke shake away those bad thoughts, and they start to become friends once again. She was his only connection that he had to this village. However, the Sannin was right. He had to break that connection if He desired to get stronger at the level that he is at right now. He would only be an embarrassment in front of Itachi. Orochimaru said that he would show up once again. And by then he would hope that he has made up his mind to stay or to join him. And Sasuke was having a difficult time, but his anger and rage to get back at Itachi, it won out. Time skip. Kushina didn't know what it was, but she knew that Minato was keeping something away from her. She was not sure what it was though. He was getting worse. A few months after they had Mito, he started to behave erratic. That behavior started to come back slowly at first, but now it was coming back worse and worse. She had asked him about it, if everything was alright, wondering if it was a job that was stressing him out. But he told her that everything was just fine, and there was nothing to worry about. She's even spoken to Jiraiya to see if he knew anything, but he said that he did not. And now she was worried. Something was going on that Minato was not telling her. Something bad. He was coming home late. He was barely home anymore. Always in the office, always working. And recently, she saw something. She saw him checking out his ribs in the mirror. She saw the bruises. He was in a fight. Now that was a surprising part given the fact that he was always in the office. She had rushed inside, asking him about it. He told her that he was just testing out his skills so that he's not getting rusty. And he had a little accident, but there's nothing to worry about. However, that didn't look like any little accident. He was lying to her, and she didn't know why. Something was going on. Kushina did not notice that. She was getting more and more paranoid. This was not normal, yes. She suspected Minato of something, but something was happening to her. She decided to check over their room, checking for anything that Minato might be hiding. And she came across something. A loose floorboard. She raised her eyebrow at that, and she lifted up. What the hell? There was a few papers. She picked up one of them to see that it was a handwritten letter. She was confused. Someone was writing to Minato. It basically said that they miss him and they wanted to come and see him. And there was so much of them. At the bottom, the name was there. Lucy. Lucy Oda. Kushina wondered if he was he really? Time skip. Later that night, Minato came home after a tired, stressful day. The Chunin Exams was taking place. Yes, it was. But he heard that Mito had made it to the tower. He was so happy to hear that. In all of his stressful times, at least, he could relax still knowing that his daughter was going to make it through. That was until he saw Kushina. As he was about to tell her the good news, he saw the look on her face. She was upset. She was angry. On the table there was a stack of papers. Before he could open his mouth, "Who is Lucy Oda?" Minato froze up. Who? He said to her, raised an eyebrow at that. Lucy Oda. Who is she? Kushina said. I'm afraid do not lie to me. Damn it, Minato, do not lie to me, she yelled. The proof is right here. Who the hell is Lucy Oda? He walked over and took one of them up. He then took a calming breath as he sit down. It was someone I knew in the past. Before we started to even go out. She's not from this village. I met her while I was on one of my missions. She developed feelings for me. Her family was a very rich family. She even used their resources to hire the village for me to take a mission, but there was no danger or anything. She just wanted to spend time with me. But I knew, even then, that I had feelings for you that were much deeper and greater. So I told her. She spent a long time trying to get my attention, sending me letters. I don't know why I kept them, but I promise you, I haven't talked to her for years now. Since the first date that we went on. Maybe 2 years before that, I spoken to her. I already told her that nothing could happen between us because I love you, he said. I knew that before we even started to go out. I don't know why I kept them. Maybe I just felt bad. Because it reminded me of that time that things became shaky between us. And I was afraid that I was going to lose you. And it made me think, how did she felt if she had such strong feelings for me? And yet I destroyed her advances. And I felt so terrible that I could lose you. It was just stupid on my part. I never meant to keep them. Kushina embraced him, cutting him off. As she was now calm. It's okay, she said, calming down. It's just, you know how I get sometimes, I thought. Kushina, I would never betray you like that. Ever, he said. It's just, you're acting different. You're spending a lot of... Look, he said to her, you're right. I thought I could keep this to myself like I usually do, but it's just, first it was Obito, then Ren, and now Kakashi. I thought that things would be getting better, but they're just getting worse. It was my fault. I knew that it was too early to send them out on a first C rank, but yet I did so anyway. I should have waited. If I had, Kakashi would have still been here. Kushina realized that he was blaming himself. What kind of wife was she? How could she have never seen it? It's not your fault. You acted like a leader. You did what you had to in that position. And Kakashi was all for it as well. I know that does not change things. But you know that he will never blame you for what you did. So it's not right that you blame yourself. She spent the next few minutes trying to convince him that it was not his fault. It eventually led to the both of them going to bed together. While she slept, Minato was petrified in fear. Nothing what he said earlier was true. None of it was true. Lucy Oda was Naruto's mother after all. However, those letters were not his. He never had those letters. That could only mean one thing. Naruto had been in the village. Been in his home. Minato was shocked. As he lay there in bed, Naruto was here. He was here. Given his failed assassination attempt on the boy, Minato was afraid for his family's sake, but there was no attack, and he was able to keep himself so well hidden. However, he was trying to turn Kushina against him. It was a good thing that he could think so good on his feet, otherwise he would have been screwed. Minato slipped out of her embrace. He had to up the Anvu patrols around his house immediately. And he had to find where the hell Naruto was, because he was in Konoha. Meanwhile, Naruto sat on a nearby cliff. Walking up behind him was one of Konoha Anvus, one of the members that rotate on the nightly shift to guard the house of the Namikaze. In the battle, Naruto had laid his hand on one of their heads, and he was able to crush his spirit immediately and take over. Yes, he was the one that plotted those letters. His mother had wrote them to Minato when she didn't know the kind of man he was yet, when she thought that he was a good man that would do the right thing, but she didn't know what kind of horrendous, horrible man he was. Naruto made sure to not involve any that said anything about her pregnancy. He just wanted Kushina to have thoughts in her mind, unknown to her even. Naruto could reflect his thoughts, reflect his inner desires with his eyes. It was much weaker because he used the Anvu to do so. The Anvu passed by Kushina on several occasions. She passed by him. She would have never thought anything of it. However, the dark thoughts that Minato was up to something projected from Naruto consciousness, projected onto hers as well, made her become paranoid and led her to finding that. He just wanted to lay the seed of conflict right now. Yes, she might think that everything was okay now, but that doubt will always be in her mind. And Naruto was going to play on it. He wanted Minato to remember. Today was a special day after all. Today was the day of his mother's birth. Yes, today was her birthday. So yes, he will remember. Thinking that Naruto is in Konoha at the moment. How wrong he was. As Naruto took a few items from the Anbu that he delivered to him, he pressed 2 fingers in his forehead before the Anbu went off, completely under his control. As Naruto returned to what he was doing, things were getting there. It's only a matter of time now, he thought with a smile on his face. The next few days was one of panic for Minato as he searched all over, trying to find Naruto, having his people search as well. They combed through the village like a fine-teeth comb, and yet nothing at all. At least he was able to convince Kushina about, well, his lie basically. But now Naruto was somewhere, or maybe he was no longer there. However, he failed to turn Kushina against him. Or maybe that was not his goal. Maybe that was not what he desired. So what the hell did he want then? Minato released a sigh as he was currently in one of the training grounds. He will have to be going to the preliminary exam soon. There was a lot of members that passed through the exam. Another entire section of the forest search. He was making sure that he was there just in case Naruto was there to fight back against him, because he was vastly more powerful than they could have ever thought. And Anvu landed beside him. Sir, there is no sighting of anyone inside. Minato frowned here and that, but he nodded to the Anvu. Continue the search in Forest 13. Dismiss. The Anvu did not move. I said dismiss. The Anvu started to laugh. I don't think so, he said. Minato was confused as he looked at the Anvu. What did you just say? I said I don't think so. You know, you can think pretty quick on your feet. Must be one of the reasons they call you the fastest man alive as well. The Anvu was acting strange. Minato turned towards him. You were able to convince that woman of yours that you fell in love with this woman out of the village. I'm surprised that she bites so quickly. She must really love you. It kicked in immediately. But how? Naruto? Exactly. Not in the flesh per se, but yes. How are you doing this? Said Minato. Oh, you have no idea what I can do. I had my plan set for you, and now things are just going so wonderful. I'm enjoying watching you squirm from where I am, wondering what I'm up to, wondering why I haven't just told her everything, shown her evidence. You know, that day when she found out, it was my mom's birthday. Do you remember that? Do you remember the birthday of the woman that you had poisoned? Minato did not look away as he was reaching. Don't bother. I'm not here. And it doesn't matter what you do to this body because, well, it's not mine. I just wanted to say hey, father. And say, Congratulations on your little girl reaching that far in the exams. I wonder if I should pay her a visit. Don't you dare touch her, said Minato. The envoy looked at him. You think you can tell me what to do? Laughable. Well, anyway, I got a lot of things ahead of me. Let's see how you explain this one. He pulled out a kunai and stabbed it into his throat. The envoy collapsed down to the ground, a smile on his face, his eyes going dead. That is when the other envoys arrive on the scene, after fully searching the other forests. They all blinked in shocking confusion, their weapons out, as they saw one of their own on the ground, dead with a weapon in his neck. As Minato turned to face them, time skip. It was the preliminaries. As Minato stood there giving a speech, it was easy to inform the envoys that Konoha was currently being attacked. Someone was able to manipulate one of their fellow officers and made him did that right in front of Minato. He believed that it was the same person that killed Kakashi. So right now the search was on high alert. Every envoy, who they were making their way. Minato even had to venture to even Danzo to use his people to try and find and eliminate the threat. Danzo did what he was told, of course. The man was a bit too responsive though. Usually, there would be questions, but now there was none. But Minato had no time to worry about that. He just had to do, because he was preoccupied a lot. Even now, he couldn't afford to stay here, despite the fact that his own daughter was participating. He had a lot to do. That is why there was a clone there doing all of this, while the real Minato was somewhere else doing something else. Paranoia and fear was taking over as Mito, Sasuke, and Sai participate, along with the other members as well. Time skip. They were given 1 month. Mito found herself facing off against the prodigy of the Hyuga clan, Neji Hyuga. He was a rather strong fellow. Sasuke was facing someone dangerous though. The son of the Kazekage, Gaara of the desert, a very dangerous opponent. Yamato had taken over Mito's training. Sai had passed through as well. He would be facing off against Kankuro. Sai was not there. Sai was said to be given some special training, while Sasuke was being taught by Aoba. Aoba was a special Jonin of the village has specialized in several areas that Sasuke specialized in. Yamato had been able to talk to him to take over Sasuke's training, given the fact that both Mito and Sasuke would be going in the exams. Aoba specialized in fire type based jutsus as well, and a lot more that would fit Sasuke's style, so it was not that bad off. And given the fact that he was not a Jonin sensei, he had the time, so he agreed. As long as Yamato buy the drinks the next time they went to the pub, Yamato was happy to do so. As the time went by, a lot of training got done. A lot more things were being prepared in the background. Orochimaru had reconnected with that group. That group of people that wanted Konoha to fall, who also possess another Jinchuriki. And I'm not talking about Gaara. So yes, there will be 2 Jinchurikis coming to Konoha for the sole purpose of causing destruction. A big problem was coming Minato way. A really big problem. He better be ready, as all of his past actions were coming for him. And the worstest one yet was none other than his own son. As the time went by, Mito kept on training harder and harder. Sasuke had made up his mind. He had to forget old bonds. This was getting him nowhere. He needed to kill Itachi. He needed to end the life of Itachi Uchiha. It was the only way. While that was going on, Zetsu had spent the last month gathering a group of powerful individuals, rogue missing ninjas that were not linked to the Akatsuki or linked to nothing that would draw this back to him, to pay all of them a hefty sum in just kidnapping 2 people. Zetsu only see this playing out one way, by forcing the boy to give up his own precious eyes to ensure that his precious people survive. Yes, that was the only way that Zetsu see this occurring in front of him. But he had to wait. Meanwhile, with Naruto, it was morning. As he opened his eyes, Karen, her head was resting on his chest. One of his arms wrapped around her waist. The moment seemed rather intimate despite they were just sleeping together. Actually sleeping. Today was a big day though. He would be breaching Konoha. He didn't want Karen to come with him. He wanted to make sure that they were here and safe. He had made sure to check for the past couple of weeks. That creature seemed to be the only one, so there was no need to move. This place was their home after all. Karen was worried about him, of course. However, at the end of this, he would be bringing by one of her friends, the spy that has been spying on Orochimaru. They were going to join them because Orochimaru would not live past his attack. This was his opportunity. Finally, after all this time, he was going to slaughter the man and cause chaos for Minato as well. That morning, Naruto said goodbye to Menma and Karen. He will be back soon. Menma thought of it as a normal day, that everything would be normal as it always was. Unfortunately though, today was going to be chaotic. Zetsu had stayed far away, far to make sure that he was not found. Naruto thinking that he was dead was the best thing ever, so he decided to retaliate once he was gone. As all those people converge upon the house, Karen was currently inside making breakfast for her and Menma when she felt something off. She made her way towards one of the windows. Menma saw the look on her face. What's wrong? Naruto had left out a few hours ago. Someone's here. No, wait. It's more than one. Karen's eyes widened as a group of shinobis, rogue missing shinobis, were rushing towards their house. But guys, be end so right here. If you want to see next part, and do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notifications they posted. But I'm off and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.